Losada, Ziwi, and Zalawizi, the Sal, and Day, one Tatsigar, Talisutaki, and we go down Namion, Pamiska, Akui, Bayo, Dali. Greetings, everyone. I am called Rich Holschuh. I am a citizen of Elnu, Abenaki tribe, down in Montostigok, which you know is Brattleboro today. I am honored to serve as chair of the Vermont Commission on Native American Affairs, and so I've been asked to act as host here with the folks next to me from the tribes. My chief, Roger Longtoshian, could not be here today, so I'm speaking in his stead. So thank you for coming. We are here today to provide voices that are not being heard adequately. We have spoken at length to many different people, and our story is not being put out there to the degree that it should be. We are looking for balance. We're calling for tolerance. We're calling for discussion. We're calling for open and even exchange among our own people. This is not a matter to be arbitrated by others, whether they are academic, the public, the media. Everyone has an opinion. That's all they are, their opinions. We want to share some things with you today that you may or may not be aware of, and I hope that you will hear them, and I hope that you hear from us again often, and as much as is necessary, until we reach that place where we'd like to be, which is in relationship and not separated, not divisive, not partisan, not trying to control the narrative. It is a single-minded narrative being put out there right now. Why? We don't have all those answers. They will become more and more clear as time goes on. People don't always show their reasons until they get what they want. I'm just going to say a few words, and then I'm going to turn it over to the chiefs here to say what they would like to share with you. We will be taking questions afterwards. Please feel free to ask. If you can't get your answers right now or don't have your questions, we'd be happy to get back to you later. So again, thank you for being here. I approach the work that I do as chair of the commission as a community member and as director of a nonprofit that is devoted to raising awareness and helping people to understand what they do not know for reasons. We have not been told these things. The state of Vermont literally taught in its curricula that there were no Native Americans resident in this state. That is ridiculous. That is ludicrous. And it's not true. It's just not true. But that's what we're going up against, that historical burden. Many people have lived here as original people, as Aboriginal people, as Indigenous people, as Native people. Pick the word that you want. These are all labels. But there are people that have been here in relationship with this place for millennia, 12, 13,000 years, minimum. We're still here. Aswan Oldibana Yodali. We are still here, all of us. And we are not here to be selective and controlling and put lines and boxes around it. Our relatives to the north are connected to this place as well. However, they have decided that they are the only ones, the sole authorities. That is not true. People are complicated. History is complicated. There are Abenaki people and Abenaki descendants, and we are all the children and grandchildren of many grandmothers and grandfathers. We are all mixed together. Everyone, every single one. And I want to honor all of those ones, whether they're Native or non-Native, because we're all here now and we have got to figure this out. We are not here to argue and to fight. This is not a conflict. This is unilateral aggression. We're not fighting with anybody. Our hands are out, and they are not clenched in a fist in front of a billboard on Times Square. Relationship. We're looking for connection. We're looking for restoration. We're looking for healing. We're not looking for divisiveness. We're not looking for power. We're not looking for control. We do not come from a position of status on a federal level. That is might makes right. I don't think is right. I want what's fair, I want what's balanced. It's not about me, it's about us, all of us together. Kasi we, together. I use the language that I am learning, I am honored, I'm privileged. I owe a great debt of gratitude to those who have carried that language for thousands of years. It is a language that comes from this land. It is the earth speaking. Yesterday was Earth Day, a day celebrated around the planet to remind us that we owe everything to our mother, Nigo Esaki. We would not be here without her. Every day is Earth Day. We are here to stand for that relationship, that degree of connectedness, not separation. So I ask you to hear this story. I ask you to carry that forward. We are going to be talking to our relatives to the north. That is coming. I'm going to turn this over to the chiefs right now. Brenda, Gagne, the Abenaki band at Missiquoi.
We'll leave in English. My name is Brenda Gagne. I'm the chief of the Abenaki Nation in Missiquoi. This is a time my people thought would never happen, when our identity would be questioned. What's so difficult here is that it is a brother of to the north, a First Nations tribe long considered loyal and generous people. Our devoted relatives and friends making these unfounded statements. What is so hurtful for Missiquoi is that our leaders from many decades ago are being called frauds and wannabes. The late Chief Homer St. Francis is held up as a joke, a white person pretending to be native. Was Homer controversial? You bet. Did he know with all his heart and soul that he was a native warrior? Yes, he did. It is the act of cowards to make fun of the dead, people who can no longer defend themselves. What's worse about this situation is the attack on our children. For years, we've collaborated with UVM to create a really successful program, the UVM Summer Happening Program, that for 37 years has encouraged our children to see themselves at college. In fact, many of them have gone to college and even became teachers coming back to our local schools to lead the next generation of our children. Sadly, this effort is being put on hold for the third summer in a row because we don't know if our children are safe at UVM campus. Last April at the second UVM Abenaki event, an Odanak sympathizer came over to our Circle of Courage youth and screamed at them to go home. Because you are nothing but fakers. He startled the children and caused them to cry in fear. Frankly, my people are puzzled by what Odanak claims about Kdakinna, our homeland, claiming it is theirs, not ours. When ancient burial sites were disturbed and dozens of remains were dug up, we reached out to friends far and near to support us. At first, the state wanted the remains to be moved to another town where the state owned property, so the reburial could cost less. We explained over and over why our ancient relatives need to go back in the same ground where they were found. Our elders feared that there would be disturbances of all kinds that would occur until the bones went back in the sacred ground. To hear those Odanak people speak, they should have been the first ones lending us support, whether with money or in person, because after all, these were their relatives. Yet, no, nothing, not a word of encouragement, nor a dollar being offered. We needed to raise $150,000 for our portion of the land purchased for proper reburial. This is something people don't understand when they hear the angry, hurtful words being shouted. Back then, they were erected roadblocks to bring attention to what was going on, yet none of these Odanak people lent a hand. If these were supposedly their relatives, they didn't respond. Why didn't they respond? We are trying to understand their motives in attacking us and being cruel to our youth. We don't know why they're trying to break our historical bond as relatives, but we would like to take a dialogue with them so that we can live in peace and harmony the way it should be. We know who we are, and we want to help the rest of you, including Odanak, to understand our history. Chief Don.
Hello, friends. It's a little disheartening of always being judged, waking up every morning to dealing with hate, dealing with people who question who you are, when all you're trying to do is feed your family, feed those who are food insecure. We have many food shelves throughout Vermont. We work really hard to help feed people, not only our own citizens, but also the community around us. We serve 700 people in Holland alone, which is very impoverished and has very low economic development, all the way to New Hampshire. We have bison to try to feed those. They all cost money. And we only live off grants and donations. So some of the false narratives, I'm tired of it being like, we're rich, we're in this for trying to make money. I was a director of IT. I left that job making 6 figures to come down to work, doing what I'm doing to serve our people and living off grants and donations, not a full salary, not life insurance, not any of those things. Why? Because it's the right thing to do. Our ancestors did the best they could for their people. Tired of people that are telling that we're not real or fake. We have a different lived experience than Odanak and Wolanak. It's very clear through the eugenics and other things that my family specifically is documented from the 1700s down to my grandmother. We were gypsies. We were Indian. They are labeled as Indian. They were selling baskets and horses, moving from place to place, living their traditional way, but they were called gypsies because of the lifestyle of our traditional way of life. We didn't just pop up all of a sudden to try to take advantage of somebody. There are 4 tribes sitting right here in front of you. Odanak and Wolanak is just another tribe. It's not them versus us. It's not either or. We're not stopping them. Obviously, we know that they have a lot of money. Wolanak has a casino. They have many employees. They have all kinds of industry and businesses, and they have reservation land. We have none of those things. But yet, we have to try to protect ourselves from being assaulted about people trying to deny who we are. When it is very evident through media and through university contacts and others that they can get their message out. We have seen that. We have seen their message being displayed all over. Why aren't they using that for good things? Why aren't they educating? Where were they when, like Chief Brenda was saying, when Monument Road remains were being dug up? Where were they? We had 6 fluent speakers probably in the world of Abenaki language. Where were they when we were creating the Abenaki School of Language to preserve the language so that way it didn't disappear? Where were they? We even had Odanak citizens that attended those classes to learn some of the language. But where was leadership? Where are they feeding our people? Where are they when we're teaching the culture, trying to get the culture? We're not stopping them from teaching their culture. They have a different lived experience than ours. Obviously, there are things that are overlapping because we're all Abenaki people. We have similar customs, traditions, and language. But are they promoting those things, or are they just trying to destroy who we are? Are they out there teaching the culture? Are they in the school systems teaching? Are they providing the curriculum? If this has been so important to them, how come the curriculum hasn't been distributed to the K through 12 schools like what we're trying to do and what the commission is working on? That's education about our history and our people. Where are they? Where have they been? I know where they are when the TRC process started happening because they said they needed to pay the real Indians and not anybody else. Well, guess what? It's not always about money. It's not about cashing in on things. It's about what is right and what has happened to our people. They've even said the eugenics was fake. Okay, come on. I can tell you my grandparents are very much listed in the eugenics survey, and they were hunted and targeted, and there was people that were sterilized through these processes. There was a lot of harm done. We're just trying to educate about our story, our Vermont story. We didn't have the luxury that when we allied with the French, that we were in French territory and could live in peace with the French. We're in the other side. Once the French and Indian War stopped and the borders were separated, we had to live on this side of people who we fought against. Of course, people are, do you think that you wonder why the eugenics happens where our people went into hiding? Look what's happening now. Do you think it's pleasurable to be up here being attacked every day by saying that somehow we're taking somebody else's culture? We're not taking their culture. They can promote their culture all they want, their lived experiences. It's our culture too, but we have different lived experiences. They have we're not in Canada trying to claim that when they say ethnic identity for us, are we claiming that we're Odanak citizens? Are we claiming that we're Wolanak citizens? Absolutely not. We're not taking anybody's identity, we're claiming our own. This is our truth, this is who we are. This is why we proved ourselves to the state. The whole reason we went for recognition was so that way we didn't have to deal with this issue every day. We're 10 plus years way out of recognition, and we're still dealing with this thing. And they keep saying they weren't available to testify and all this. I can tell you, look it up, Skip Bernier is their representative. They've listed him as their Fish and Wildlife Officer down here, and he testified. So did Tim Delabrew. Tim Delabrew was on the commission, for God's sakes, that helped do this, and he's the grandson of Skip, and both of them have Odanak cards, because I was there when they were handed their cards. So don't tell me that they weren't included in having voices. They just didn't like the outcome. It's not our fault, right? So we're just trying to live in peace. The state of Vermont has been very good and working in partnership. I mean, I keep going back to where were they when we were creating park signs and changing so our language is seen from now until the end of time, because all the state parks can include our language. Where were they? They were complaining about it. Why would you complain about something that's tribal agnostic when you're trying to save and preserve a language that you want to be seen? How is that controversial, right? So I just keep going back to the fact that people want to make this divisive. People want to make this a fight. We're not in conflict. They are the aggressor. They're the ones that are attacking us, and we don't have the resources to compete with them. And the media loves this, and I'm just saying that we need to make sure there's harm being done to our kids. There's harm being done to our students at UVM. There's harm just being done and just being human beings. Where the hell's the compassion? Why does it have to be us or them? We can coexist just like everybody else. And I think I will stop there. But we have our customs, our traditions, and we were friends with Odanak, and we still could be. There are still citizens there that are friends with us. There's a reason why they're doing this. We don't know exactly the reason. We have our suspicions, but why now? Why are they doing this now when we have been friends in the past and we have worked together in harmony? Rick Obamsman used to come to the Missiquoi powwows, for God's sakes, and participate. Walter Wasso and others who have been, all of these other leaders who have come and participated with Missiquoi, but knew that they were supporting, they weren't here. They were supporting the people who live in this place and the people who are in this side of the border. So we're not self-proclaimed. We are recognized, legally recognized in the United States as Abenaki. We have proven ourselves to the state. We are acknowledged by the federal government under the Indian Arts and Crafts Act that we can sell our things as Abenaki. We are legally Abenaki. We are morally Abenaki, and our ancestors are Abenaki, and I am Abenaki. And I am Indigenous. And I'm proud. And my son's headstone has Nulhegan emblem on his gravestone. He is Abenaki, and he was damn well proud of me, so. What's next? They're gonna go to my son's grave and rip the emblem off his gravestone? Come on, people, use common sense. Let's work together in partnership and uplift people instead of destroying people. See, Shirley?
Greetings, everybody. Thank you very much for coming today. We are farmers, and we're gardeners, and we are in West Springfield, Vermont. We are farmers just like our grandparents were way back years and years ago. And we have a plot that is probably about 10,000 square feet that we plant. And all the food that we plant, or the harvest that we get, we donate it to the elders and the citizens and whoever needs it in near Springfield. And anybody can stop in and get it. And we teach our kids young how to start a garden. They pick up their seeds, they plant them, and then they have to put them in the garden and take care of them. They watch as we can them or freeze them or dry them. And they're watching all the time, and we're hoping that more children will be able to do this. We also teach gardening to adults and anybody else that wants to learn. actually 3 guys from the road crew in Braintree stopped one day and said they wanted to take the classes, so they're gonna be taking classes this fall. We also are seed savers, like our grandparents were, and this whole thing here is kind of hard. I'm trying to think happy, and it's kind of hard right now to do that. And I figured if I did something about the gardening and the children doing it and the elders getting the food, and it might make people feel better. So thank you very much.
I want to say one more thing to you, and there's been a lot of issues around the symposiums, UVM's role in that, and individual professors. We have a good relationship with a lot of people at UVM, but there are also professors and others that are always, they have their own reasoning of doing what they're doing under academic freedom. It keeps being under academic freedom, but I want to challenge the universities and the presidents of those universities. There is such a thing called institutional freedom as well. They have the freedom to do the right thing and to speak out about injustice, and they have policies against against racism. They have policies against discrimination. They have many policies, as we know, would have seen on the national level about people even losing their jobs because they were attacking certain minority populations or ethnicities. I want to challenge not the heads of the people who allow academic freedom or racism or destruction of individuals through academic freedom to have the courage to also be there under institutional freedom, to say maybe they don't always, even if individual professors can do what they want under academic freedom, that there should be a responsibility of those who are in high positions to support non-discrimination, to support non-racism, to support things that are not destructive and tearing people down, but to uplift and to create an equal playing field. The only reason I'm saying this is because 90 years ago, my grandmother was caught up in the eugenics program because those institutions thought that dealing with the problem of defective people was the solution and the right thing to do under their freedom to try to promote the eugenics program. 90 years later, there are still people and events happening at UVM that are targeting her grandson. I mean, history repeats themselves when there's no checks. We need to learn from history. We need to move forward. We need to make sure that people on the campus and universities are not being harmed. Our kids are not feeling like it's hard to attend places that people feel like they're not who they are. The kids don't need that kind of burden, and neither do we. So there is support from people at UVM as well. So I just want to say that there needs to be institutions and media need to be held accountable to make sure that it is not, you're not destroying or trying to be promoting the destruction of individuals or people who are just trying to live their lives and they're just trying to be who they are as a people. Because nobody has authority to decide who we are. I was given it by birth, and I was legally given it by the state. I don't need to prove myself anymore to anybody, not you, not the university, not anyone. That is our right to live in peace, to be who we are. And I'm gonna end my comments there, but I just wanted to say that there are times where obviously we know there are other symposiums that are coming through. And we need to stand up for ourselves. The only way to deal with bullies is to stand up to them and to tell our truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief Don. I'm gonna add a little bit onto what Don just shared with us, relative to why we're here today, what's happening this week, what has been happening for the last couple of years. On Thursday of this week, there will be the third in a series of symposia panel discussions hosted by certain people and certain departments at UVM, not UVM as a whole. I want to make that distinction. Nothing is monolithic, nothing is black or white. It's always certain people for certain reasons. There will be an event at UVM on Thursday, the third in a series convened by these individuals. It raises questions. Why are the presenters at these events always from outside of the state? Notably, Canada. Why are members of the Canadian Governmental Diplomatic Corps present at the first event? Quebec and Canada had diplomats there. Why is the government involved in an academic exercise? Why is the professor that has been in charge of organizing these events for the last 3 iterations? Why is his name in the metadata or letters distributed connected to these events as the author? He wrote or was intimately connected with these letters. They were then sent out by Canadian and Abenaki First Nations, but the authorship is a professor at UVM. Why? When questioned about these letters being sent out, the chief at Odanak has told 3 different parties that he did not authorize his signature on those letters. Why? Why did that professor only 5 years ago, and I think the Burlington Free Press, say explicitly that he supported the Vermont State Recognized Tribes on Indigenous Peoples Day? And today he does not. Why? Why is he the foremost authority in the Northeast on Canadian hydropower? Why? Why does the Grand Council of Odanak and Wolanak advertise jobs for Hydro-Quebec on their website? Why? Ask the questions.
They just got a new power plant.
Why did they just sign a deal with Hydro-Quebec for a wind power plant on the St. Lawrence? When we attained recognition in this state through statute in 2010, and then 4 different tribes being recognized in the following 2 years, read the last clause of the recognition statement. It says that we will not make land claims in this state. It says we will not indulge in gaming in this state. Is that what's happening north of the border? No, not at all. Gaming and land claims, talking about hundreds of millions of dollars. We don't have that. We don't have 90 people paid on our staff at the Grand Council. Look it up. You can see every single one of their faces. These are relatives. They are potential friends. We do not need to be enemies. We can all live here together, and that is what our mother calls us to do. We are related. I share family names with folks at Odanak. They may not be traditional Abenaki names. They may be French-Canadian names, but we are all related. Nobody is pure anything. That is a fallacy. That is not how it is in the world. Everything is connected. 50 years from now, I'm going to be a maple tree, and I'm looking forward to it. That's how connected we are. And the Longo-Momek, all of those to whom we are related, all of our relations. Doesn't matter about the borders and the lines and the boxes. That's not the future. We're in 7th generation, the name of this corporation today. That's what we aspire to think of those ones who are yet to come, and the debt of gratitude we have to all of those who have been here before, whoever they were. We're all here now, we gotta figure this out. Stop fighting, please. Our hands are out. We are willing to talk to anybody. If you have questions, love to take those. Over there on that table, we have some information that you might find very helpful for background. A bunch of different things. Please take a copy. We're available here or afterward. We're available, and we hope you're hearing us. We're not going away. Thank you.